Hey guys, it's the VC Andrews Critiquer, and it's my birthday today. I'm so happy to be 26, I don't even care about that scratch under my left eye. Anyway, I really should be called the Roald Dahl Critiquer, seeing how I've reviewed way more of his works than VC Andrews. I've gone to detail about why I love this guy more than enough, so watch my earlier videos if you want to know. Anyway, today's video is once again about one of his most beloved works, James and the Giant Peach. I've already done 2 videos about this movie, the first being the few things I would have fixed in this masterpiece, and the other mentioning it as number 6 on my top 8 improved all adaptation climaxes video. So what's there really left for me to talk about this movie? That hasn't been done by many other reviewers anyway. How about the fact that the first draft had Nazis in it? Before settling on Kerry Kirkpatrick, Jonathan Roberts, and Steve Bloom, Selick's first choice to write the script was classic British screenwriter Dennis Potter. And naturally, based on the title of this video, Potter gave the story a World War II vibe, like having James' mother die in the London Blitzkrieg and his drafted father be shot in combat instead of having them be eaten by a rhino, and having it turn out that James' father actually survived and have him reunite with James in New York at the end. While Selick liked Potter's script, he, Disney, and the Dahl estate all agreed it was too dark and unfaithful to the original book. I personally think they made the right call, as other films have showed that Nazis and classic children's stories really don't mix well together. Well, sometimes, but not often. But at the same time, I was very interested in learning more about this Nazi World War II direction the lost script went in. Were Spiker and Sponge Nazis? Would Hitler be a major villain as well, pursuing the gang for the power of the crocodile tongues? Would there be a big Nazi bombing plan for New York in the climax that James and the insects would have to thwart? I was really curious. So I went online to see if Potter's original script was for sale anywhere, and sure enough, it was. So I bought a PDF copy, downloaded it, and I was fairly disappointed. It wasn't bad or anything, but Selick kind of exaggerated how much influence World War II had on the plot. There's only 3 scenes in the original script that feature Nazis. The first in the beginning, when a bombing is happening in London and the ants are scared they'll be caught in it. Yeah, so much for my theory about them being Nazis as well, while James has a nightmare about the night his mother died in the London Blitzkrieg. Then in the middle, where they attack the Peach in a shark-shaped Nazi U-boat, although Disney did keep the premise of the shark being mechanical in the final film. And finally, in my one theory that was correct, where the Nazis plan a U-boat bombing of Manhattan, which James and the insects have to warn the New Yorkers about. So yeah, I was hoping for more of this World War II vibe that was supposedly too dark even for Roald Dahl's estate. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the few bits I did read. And is there anything else in this scrapped early draft I liked? Yeah, a couple things. I like how we get to see more of how cruel and despicable the ants are. Remember in the final film how the ants always threaten to beat James but ultimately never do? Well, here they actually beat him on screen for letting a candle burn out. Don't get me wrong, I do not endorse child abuse, but it does allow them to give off a more menacing vibe. And while the ants are still crushed by the Peach in this script like in the book and don't get to come back for the climax, James does still get a chance to stand up to them before going off on his grand adventure with the bugs that's not quite as epic as in the final film, but still awesome in its own right. And they get a chance to be true villains and try to attack James for back-talking them like in the final film, and because they think he stole their booze and pie. Harsh, man. But he's able to escape and go hide inside the giant peach, meet the insects, and, well, you know the rest. Speaking of the insects, I also like how in this version they were James' pets before being transformed by the green things. That's a neat spin on the story. And despite Disney feeling Potter's script departed too much from Dahl's work, it's actually more faithful than the final film in many regards. Like having it be Cloudman instead of skeleton pirates who attack the Peach, having the Peach eating sequence come before the shark attack, and also keeping a lot more of the original dialogue from the book, including some of the Centipede's other songs. And one idea that was really cool was, right after the Cloudman encounter, the group runs into this Pennywise-like monster who embodies one's deepest fears, and thus turns into a 2-headed Spiker and Sponge shark thing that the gang has to fight off, but succeed by facing their fears similar to James' encounter with the rhino in the final film. So is Potter's scrap script as dark and war-themed as it's made out to be? No, but I'm glad I had a chance to check it out. It had some neat ideas, and honestly, just the idea of mixing Roald Dahl and World War II alone is such a crazy idea. I can't say it's good in practice, but on paper, it's so enjoyably bonkers. I'd put it in a downloadable link for you all, but I don't want to get any copyright problems. But you can buy it online if you want to check it out like I did. And if you have any other questions about the script, just leave a comment and I'd be happy to answer it. Till then, it's been a privilege serving my duty as an online reviewer this evening.